Sheesh, the longer this goes on, it seems the more things keep breaking. Or at least not working because the internet just isn't working correctly anymore. Anyway, are you ready for some litigation? Hold up. Stupid drop frame ratings. I hate this. Right. It's been 2 months since Maya left the office. 2 months without a single trial. I've had offers, but none I took. That is, until the day that girl showed up. Why do I come here to the office every day? It's not like I want to work.
There you are, finally! Where have you been? My sister's trial is tomorrow!
Who are you?
It doesn't matter who I am. It only matters who you are. The famous defense attorney, Mia Fey. Oh, you're not Mia Fey, are you?
I'm sorry, but Miss Mia Fey no longer works here.
So you are the coffee boy?
I'm Phoenix Wright, a defense attorney.
Right. Wait, you're the Phoenix Wright? The Phoenix Wright from the Edgeworth murder case?
Yes, that's correct. It wasn't Edgeworth who was murdered, though.
That's a relief, then. You're better than nobody.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I'm not taking cases right now.
But you're Phoenix Wright, right? The undefeated defense attorney?
Look, I'm not accepting any new cases. I'm sorry, but you'll have to try elsewhere.
Please! I'm out of time.
But
please, you have to help. It's my sister.
Maya? Could it be? Okay, I'll hear you out.
Really? Thank you so much. My name's Emma Sky. I'm a scientific investigator.
Scientific investigator? Emma, was it? So you're a scientific investigator?
Yes, that's right. Is something wrong?
No, it's just you seem kind of, jumpy? Or maybe just young?
Young? I'll be 16 years old this year.
Oh, I see.
Wait!
Only 16?
I'm set to be formally assigned to forensics in 3 more years. My work is becoming quite well known, at my age no less.
So what exactly is your current position then?
Well, legally speaking, I guess you'd call me an 11th grader. But I'm ready to do my job, at my age no less.
Great, another future professional in training. So what's this about a case? You said the trial's tomorrow?
My sister didn't do it. She wouldn't stab someone with a knife. She wouldn't.
So it's a murder case.
I don't care if there's a witness who saw her do it. She didn't do it. I know she didn't do it. It's a scientific fact.
And there's a witness.
Just talk to her. You have to talk to her.
Right, I suppose I will.
I promised her I'd bring Mia Fey, but...
That's interesting. How would she know Mia?
My sister asked for Mia specifically. This Mia Fey person was a few years below her in school.
So they went to the same school, huh?
She always told me to go to Mia if I ever needed a defense attorney, and, well, I need one.
Incidentally, Mia is a woman?
Now that you mention it, I guess it is more of a woman's name than a man's.
Well, it's nice of you to help your sister out like this. You must be close. Huh?
Well, actually, when she gets like she is now, I kind of hate her. Huh? But she's my only family.
Your only family? What about your parents?
They died in a car accident when I was little.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you want to be a scientific investigator when you grow up then?
Excuse me? I'm not a child, I'll have you know.
Still, it's good to have a goal, albeit a very unusual one.
I believe investigation should be done scientifically, don't you?
Yeah. Sure can't falter for a lack of enthusiasm.
If this case is handled scientifically, I'm sure my sister's name will be cleared.
Your sister?
I've been doing research, you know. I'm developing a new scientific method of case investigation. I'll show you when I'm done.
I'm looking forward to it. Guess I should get down to the detention center and talk to her sister. I wonder what's wrong with Emma. She got quiet all of a sudden as soon as we arrived.
Guard, I thought I told you I didn't want visitors.
Sorry, ma'am. It's just your sister.
No excuses. Or did you not want to raise this year,
Understood, ma'am.
What was that all about? Hi, Lana. Funny. I seem to remember specifically telling you not to come here. Perhaps my memory is failing? Look, I didn't want to come here either, okay? But your trial's tomorrow and you still don't have a defense attorney. I'll be the one in court tomorrow. This has nothing to do with you, Emma. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Hey, how do you know me?
Mia mentioned you. I've heard quite a bit.
I'm sorry, what exactly is it that you do?
My name is Lana Sky. I'm chief prosecutor for this district.
You're a prosecutor? Two sisters, one a lawyer. Could this be a coincidence? Emma, Lana, I mean, they're just like...
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? There's something you should know from the start, which is, the suspect in this case has confessed to the crime.
Huh?
Wait, but the suspect is... me. I did it. Well, Mr. Wright?
Well, why don't you begin by telling me exactly what happened?
The crime took place yesterday, February 21st at 5:15 p.m.
That's quite specific.
It was in the witness's deposition. A witness clearly saw me committing the crime.
That was a bit of bad luck, wasn't it?
The crime took place in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The body was found in the trunk of my subordinate's car.
The prosecutor's office, huh? In your subordinate's car trunk? Classy.
I was arrested on the spot, caught red-handed as it were.
Well, that's just great. So who was the victim?
An investigator with the police department. I suppose the correct term is detective. A detective? Death was due to a loss of blood. He was stabbed once in the stomach.
By you?
Death wasn't immediate, but the wound was fatal.
I see.
Allow me to repeat myself, Mr. Wright. The victim was a detective. You know what that means, don't you?
Uh-oh.
What, Mr. Wright? What does it mean? Well, it means the police department will consider it a matter of pride to have me found guilty. They will use any means at their disposal to do so.
This case gets worse and worse with everything I learn. So you're the chief prosecutor?
That is correct. I'm responsible for overseeing every trial handled by prosecutors in this district. I make sure the prosecutors have what they need to do the job and manage every aspect. Those are my responsibilities in a nutshell.
That's an awfully large nutshell.
Still, I'm a little surprised. I would think you'd recognize the district's chief prosecutor, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
In fact, it seems impossible you wouldn't. Lana? What happened to your hand? Oh, this? I cut myself by accident when I stabbed him, that is. Huh? I'm not very good at being a criminal, I suppose. How am I supposed to defend this?
Time to change the subject.
Wait, she was in the class ahead of Mia, wasn't she?
You were in the school with Mia, correct? A few years above her?
Emma told you that, did she? Well, why not? I did drag him all the way here from his office. Although it seems he has very little in common with Mia. Hey! It was in law school. I was in my 3rd year and she was auditing the class. She was different than the other students.
Different?
She was strong. She'd do anything to become a defense attorney. Anything. That was probably why she was attracted to me.
Excuse me?
Intellectually attracted. Lana was top of her class in school. I was the best there was.
Oh.
I'm doing pretty good in school too, by the way.
Sounds a bit different when Emma says it.
Well, Mr. Wright?
Excuse me?
As you can plainly see, I am admitting my guilt. I think it's safe to say, there's no way you can take this case. None. But Lana! Why? Why are you doing this to me? You never think of anyone but yourself. I know you didn't do it, Lana, I know. So how can you say you did? If I lose you, I'll be all alone. I hate you, Lana! Mr. Wright?
Yes?
I believe our discussion here is ended. The rest, I leave to you.
You mean you're requesting my services as your defense?
Don't lose any sleep over it. Your client has confessed, after all. The case is over.
Right. I'll do what I can to get to the bottom of this. Lana has confessed to the crime, yes, but something doesn't fit. It's that look in Emma's eyes. There's something else going on here, and I'm going to find out what.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Huh? About what?
My sister, she's not always like that, you know.
I just never expected to be defending another prosecutor again.
She's changed a lot. She used to be so gentle, always smiling. Everybody liked her.
I see.
Sorry, but I'm having trouble imagining that.
What happened to her?
I don't know for certain myself. I think maybe well, maybe not.
Sounds like there's something here that defies a simple scientific explanation. Let's go check out this underground parking at the prosecutor's office, shall we?
Okay.
So this is the lot where it all happened?
Looks like they're still investigating.
Funny that my first visit to the prosecutor's office should be like this.
Hey, everyone, keep up the good work! Hey, what are you thinking? Well, they are going to be my coworkers 3 years from now, after all. No harm in saying hello.
Actually, there is. You know, attorneys aren't supposed to examine crime scenes.
I'm trying to not stand out too much here, see?
You expecting to go unnoticed here, partner? What do we have here? Looks like a bambina got loose from the ranch and is up to no good. Folks gotta learn to keep them dogies tied down, partner.
Mr. Marshall!
Marshall? Looks more like a sheriff to me. Looky here, bambina. I know how you feel. But this is my gang's gold strike, see?
Strike?
This is our claim, our territory, with a motherload of evidence. If you're fixing to mess with what's ours, you'll regret it, partner. You know what dreams a cacti out in the desert dream? You want to?
What's this guy talking about?
You head along home now. Happy trails, bambina. Was that a hombre, a friend of yours?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, he's a detective.
Who thinks he's a sheriff from the Wild West, it seems. What's this? A wallet? Excuse me, officer.
Wait, what are you doing, Mr. Wright?
What am I doing? I just found this wallet, so I'm handing it over to the police.
I don't believe it. This is real basic. Anything at a crime scene is evidence. Let's be scientific about this, please. Just put it in your pocket.
How is that scientific? Sounds like theft to me.
I'm called to duty already, and at my tender age. Here, I'll teach you the trick to examining evidence in detail, okay?
By the way her eyes are sparkling, I can tell she's been waiting for this.
Okay, now, look at the court record. You have to be sure to examine evidence carefully on all sides. Now let's start examining from every angle. Oh look, I think there might be a clue here. You should check it out with a press of enter.
This is an ID card. Sergeant Bruce Goodman, ID number 5842189.
See? Well, isn't scientific investigation useful?
I guess, though I don't see what science has to do with it.
Let's be sure to examine every piece of evidence we find.
I guess I've got to be on my toes from now on.
Aha! A ladder!
That's a stepladder.
What's the difference? In scientific terms, please.
Scientific, huh?
Look at the basic nature of things, Mr. Wright.
This all seems so horribly familiar somehow. An oil drum. Looks like it's filled with water.
It's heavy. I can't even budge it.
The drum over here is on its side.
Wait, I know. I'll hide in here and do a stakeout.
I think you'll probably just get arrested. In fact, you may not even have to hide in the drum to get arrested.
What? I'm not suspicious. Well, no time to waste. Let's get hunting for clues. I wonder what this is.
Well, partner, looks like you got no intention of going home quietly.
The sheriff!
Like I said before, this here's our claim. You'd best be moseying along, unless you're fixing to bite the bullet.
Gah!
Scary.
Could you just tell us one thing? Who owns that car?
Well, the little filly's got a good nose on her. You want to know who rides that red Mustang with the body in her saddle, eh?
Please!
No problem, partner. About time for vittles anyway. Get yourself to the saloon up on the 12th floor of the prospector's office. Might just find you a cerveza you like.
Prospector's office? Where does this guy think he is? And when, for that matter? Note to self, look up Vittles, Saloon, Cerveza.
Maybe we should check out room 1202, the High Prosecutor's office. In any case, stay away from the car. You can look around here all you like, just keep your paws off our claim. Right, great.
Great, maybe there's some clues around here, Mr. Wright. Let's check it out. Excuse...
Yeah, here we are. What's this?
She couldn't be. You're selling lunches? Here? This is a crime scene. Hello, half and half, was it? Oh, thanks. And you, sir?
Yes?
Some crunchy goodness coming at you.
Thanks. Interesting way of doing business.
This area's off limits to anyone without clearance, especially passers-by. Or are you officers? No, but you don't exactly look like the type to have clearance. Well, that's hardly a way to greet someone, even if my days as the cough-up queen are over.
Cough up? Huh?
You know, I'm feeling kind of full. Maybe I'll pass on lunch. I'm quite connected to this case, you see. The images are burned into my eyes, you might say. Yes, all the sordid secrets. Secrets? Dear me, you are a slow one, aren't you? I'm referring to the murder, the stabbing of that detective.
What?
A witness clearly saw me committing the crime. You mean you're the witness my sister was talking about? Please.
Please, cough up queen, tell us what happened.
The name is Angel Star. Don't you go forgetting it. Or before you know it, I'll have you whimpering at my heels.
Yes, ma'am. Yipes, she means it.
Somehow, I knew. Yesterday was a day of destiny. I knew something was going to happen. Just like I know that the daily special on Friday every week is salmon.
Destiny? Was yesterday special for some reason?
You're a defense attorney, right? You should know then. You should know the foul misdeeds of the evil ones who haunt this den of iniquity. Evil ones? Prosecutors. They have no qualms at all about blackening the name of innocence. And yesterday they paid homage to the most evil one of all. They gave an award for King of Prosecutors. What a farce. So she's saying there was some sort of prosecutors' convention yesterday. I was almost compelled to lace their lunches with something foul. Do you have a personal grievance against prosecutors or something? Or is there some kind of scientific evidence of this, evil? Young miss, mock me at your own risk. You'll soon find out why they call me the cough-up queen. Ew! The most heinous of all the evil ones, the one they awarded yesterday. It was in his car that they found the body. Proof that he devours the evilest lunches of all. Really?
Really what? I'm totally confused. One thing's clear, this lunch lady has a thing against prosecutors. So what exactly was it that you witnessed, Miss Starr?
It was a fascinating spectacle, to be sure. I now feel I know what they say when they talk about a woman's wrath. To see Lana Skye wield that knife so... Her knife flashed in anger, bringing him to a sad end. It was truly a sight to see. You mean you saw the very moment of the crime? The sound of his silvery ties to this world being cruelly cut still rings in my ears. And the rhythmic beat of Lana Skye's knife.
Wait a second, you know Lana Skye?
Of course. It's quite a feat becoming chief prosecutor. How many lunchboxes of sin did she pack to make that journey, I wonder? She always travels light.
Now why would this pretty lunch lady know the chief prosecutor's name? Did you have a bad experience with the prosecutor, Miss Starr? I sense some hostility.
Hostility? Perhaps. Prosecutors are all alike, and the bigger they get, the worse they smell. Kind of like 10-day-old clams in the chowder.
I wonder if Miss Starr was involved in some sort of legal trouble in the past.
That'd be a sure cause of food poisoning, scientifically speaking, of course. I mean, now you're talking cough-up queen.
I thought she was just a lunch vendor, but now I'm not so sure.
Could we ask you a bit about yourself, Miss Starr? I come here every day to sell lunches. I import only the freshest and best from the Far East. For some reason, the box lunches are a hit here. Why not bake the lunches here rather than import them? Did you say something? No. Only true connoisseurs can understand. The kind you can only tell someone who has tried General Tso's Trilobite lunch set. Never mind. You win.
I don't even want to appreciate part of a Trilobite's flavor.
Anyway, I come here every day to sell lunches. My boyfriend works in the security room here at the prosecutor's office. Your boyfriend? See the security room over there?
The glass-walled booth?
I sell my lunches, and since I'm here anyway, I drop in to see him.
Since you're here anyway, I guess selling lunches is more important than romance.
So, to scientifically analyze the data available so far, you, Miss Starr, are a lunch vendor with an ulterior motive for coming here.
Useful analysis. Not.
This is the kind of room that just screams, I can do the job. Quite a change from your office, really.
Thanks.
Look, there's a trophy of something here.
A trophy? What, that shield?
It takes real nerve to display stuff like this. Whoever's office this is, they must be a real stuck-up jerk.
Phoenix Wright. You never tire of prying into other people's business, do you? That voice! Long time no see, Edgeworth.
Huh? Ah! Mr. Edgeworth!
You know him from somewhere?
Of course, I'm his biggest fan! My sister introduced us once and...
Right. Her sister is the chief prosecutor, after all. Well, what brings you here? I'll warn you, I've been known to be a real stuck-up jerk.
No, did I? No, it was just Mr. Wright here,
Hey, don't blame me.
We're just here to investigate a murder case.
Murder?
A body was found in this nasty bright red sports car in the parking lot.
That would be my car. What of it?
What? Your car?
I'll say one thing, she certainly can scream. So the body was found in your car? Go ahead, say it right. You think I did it, didn't you? After you went through all that trouble to help me last year, no less.
No, we don't think you did it. I mean, it was my sister who stabbed him. Wait, no, she didn't do that. I mean...
Wait, so you're the chief prosecutor's little sister, then?
Yes, sir, Emma Skye. It's nice to meet you again.
Now that didn't sound forced at all. Ah, now I remember. You've really grown. I'll admit it was a surprise for me, too, to think that my own car would become the scene of a murder. More surprising still, I'm being forced to prove my superior's guilt. I can understand. Wait, what did you say? Lana Skye is the chief prosecutor, the top prosecutor in the district. She can't prosecute herself, so I'll be the prosecutor at the trial tomorrow.
You? Mr. Edgeworth?
To be honest, it's a bit of a miracle I'm still here at all. What do you mean? Rumors. You've heard the rumors about me, haven't you? Miles Edgeworth. It's hard to remember a time when there weren't rumors about this guy. Forging evidence, arranging false testimony, illegal searches, you name it. Thanks to you, my innocence was established in the trial at the end of last year. However, there are some who say I'm the one responsible for the current incident. What? That's crazy. Some people need very little excuse to think ill of others. It's a fact of life, impossible to stop. But some of them even go so far as to present me with toys like this. They think it's funny. Toys? That bronze shield? There's gotta be a story behind that one. Chief Prosecutor Skye, yes, we first worked together on a case 2 years ago. It was my first big case.
That's right, I remember.
2 years ago? I wasn't even a lawyer yet. Since then, I always felt that she was looking out for me. It appears I was mistaken.
Mistaken? Why? I mean, I know she's not the warmest person, but I'm sure she felt some responsibility for you.
Then, why? Why did she stab someone in the trunk of my car? Not only that, she stabbed him with my knife.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, your knife was the murder weapon?
To be specific, it was the knife I keep in the toolbox of the trunk of my car. Edgeworth? What? Are you sure you didn't do it? Come on, can't he take a joke?
You have a strange sense of humor, Mr. Wright.
I've been wondering, what the heck is this?
There's a big K on it.
Prosecutors. Huh? What's that? It's the King of Prosecutors trophy.
King of Prosecutors?
It's a great honor. They send that shield to the best prosecutor each year. What? So that K, that's...
K stands for king?
Yeah, you got a problem with that? I didn't design the thing.
King of Prosecutors. Kind of like Employee of the Month, only better.
Separate button. Got it. So basically, this says you were the best of the best last year, huh? You can take that foolish grin elsewhere, Wright. I lost a day of work to receive that travesty.
Huh? Why's that?
I had to go to the police department to receive that broken shield. The police department? Yes, right next to the police station downtown. You've been there, haven't you? Where Detective Gumshoe works? Yeah.
I was wondering something about your shield. Why is it broken?
What does it matter? I've got more important things to worry about.
Oh, right.
He doesn't seem too concerned about his award, for better or for worse. Yesterday was a very busy day for the prosecutor's office.
Maybe we should ask him more about yesterday?
Could you tell me more about yesterday, the day of the murder? Yesterday was the annual cleaning day of the prosecutor's office.
Cleaning day?
Working with the police department, we sort and file all evidence for solved cases. We call it evidence transferal.
Wiping your hands of old cases, in other words.
Oh, and another thing. A ceremony was held at the police department. There's an annual review and awards for outstanding police officers and prosecutors. And that's when you got the shield? I was at the police department yesterday afternoon. I got back here at 5:12. That's very precise.
People like myself and Mr. Edgeworth pride ourselves on our precision, Mr. Wright.
No, I place little faith in my memory. The only thing I trust is solid evidence. This is the parking stub from the underground lot. The murder took place around 5:15.
So the murder happened right after you got back.
What, Wright? I'd appreciate it if you'd direct that suspicious glare elsewhere.
Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises?
I'm Edgeworth. What is it?
I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir.
Report? What? Did you find new evidence in the case against Chief Prosecutor Skye? I don't like the way this conversation is going at all.
Skye, sir? No, sir! No name of that kind, sir! Not in this report, sir!
I think I just heard Edgeworth's lid blow.
Mr. Edgeworth's lid isn't on very tight, is it?
I made a clear request to the police department, did I not? I need to focus on the trial tomorrow, so don't bring me anything unrelated.
Sir, but sir, I'm just following orders, sir. They told me to bring this to you. I wasn't aware of the particulars of your arrangement with us, sir.
Give me your name.
Yes, sir. Meekins, sir. Officer Meekins.
Right, Officer Meekins, take your report and leave. And good luck with that raise next month.
But sir, I didn't know.
Poor guy. Looks like he was absent on the day they gave out brains and good luck. Right? Yes, sir! Gah! He caught me off guard. As you can see, I'm busy. You may leave now.
Let's do what he says, Mr. Wright.
The victim was a detective from the same department as that patrolman just now. Go down to the police department. You can ask more there. Thanks. He seems to have finally calmed down at least.
Phew, we're finally here. Why would they put the police department so far away from the prosecutor's office?
Beats me. That took almost 30 minutes by taxi, and traffic wasn't even that bad. Police department, huh? I've only ever been to criminal affairs next door. Hold on, what's that?
Disturbing! Why does it undulate like that?
Oh, wait, I know. This is the Blue Badger. They're trying to make him the police mascot.
Wow, Mr. Wright, you sure know a lot about the police. Still, he does seem familiar somehow.
Forget the Blue Badger. Who's that next to him?
Someone appears to be dancing with the Blue Badger? Uh-oh, he noticed me.
He sure is running over here fast.
Hey, pal! Well, what are you doing here?
That's my line, Detective Gumshoe. Specifically, why were you dancing over there?
What?
Well, at least he doesn't seem to be busy. This is our chance to get information.
Hey, I'll have you know I'm a very busy man, pal. I'll give you one word of advice, pal. You'd better not agree to defend the suspect in this case.
Why not?
Huh? Well, it's just that the chief prosecutor has confessed to the crime. She says she summoned the detective to the prosecutor's office and she killed him.
But what if she's not telling the truth?
Yes, well, no. Come on, pal. There's plenty of evidence against her.
But what if the evidence was faked?
Hey, pal, can I speak to you for a second?
Huh? Me?
Why is this little girl so peeved at me?
She's a relative of the suspect. She's Lana Sky's sister.
Whoa, the chief prosecutor's little sister?
Just please investigate this case carefully, okay? Scientifically.
Yes, sir. Oh, by the way, you might want to keep your voices down. You don't want to be overheard using words like faked.
Huh?
It's a sensitive issue with us these days.
So, what are you doing here, Detective Gumshoe?
Me? Oh, well, nothing really. They kicked me out of criminal affairs.
Detective Gumshoe? What did you do this time?
What do you mean this time?
Then, what happened? I know things are busy right now. I mean, with my sister's case and all.
It's true. We've never had a chief prosecutor murder anyone before. Only the highest ranked people are being led into criminal affairs now. The lowest ranking guy in there is our chief of detectives. They're not letting any of us rank and file detectives in at all.
None of you?
I know this is an important trial, but isn't that a little odd?
So anyway, I thought I'd spend the day getting the badger dance down pat.
Isn't there anything else you could be doing?
The chief of police himself is directing this investigation, pal. An Officer Marshall was assigned to the underground parking lot.
Officer Marshall.
Now that I think about it, Emma did seem to know that Marshall guy.
A patrolman in charge of a crime scene. It's unheard of, pal!
I was wondering about that.
What, the dancing blue badger? It's my masterpiece.
You made this, Detective Gumshoe?
The chief threw together some designs and I just did my thing, pal.
Nice work.
It's battery powered, so it can go anywhere. There's no switch, so it just dances until the batteries die.
Poor Blue Badger, fated to dance until he drops.
Detective Gumshoe, what can you tell me about this?
Huh? Hey, pal, this is a detective's ID card. You can't just keep that. You have to turn it in to the police. It's people like you that get me into so much trouble all the time.
Meaning Detective Gumshoe must drop his card a lot.
Let's see. Bruce Goodman. Goodman. Sounds familiar. Nah, my mistake.
But didn't you work together with him in criminal affairs?
Whoa! Now I remember! Bruce Goodman! He's the victim!
That's what I thought.
Can you tell us some more, Detective Gumshoe?
So this ID card belonged to the victim?
He was a detective, like myself. Detective Bruce Goodman.
Don't you think it's strange? I mean, why would the victim's ID card be lying on the ground where we found it?
Well, Detective Goodman should have been at the police department yesterday. There was an evidence transferal for a case he handled 2 years ago.
Evidence transferal. Mr. Edgeworth mentioned that too. But Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to say this, but word is that Chief Prosecutor Sky called him out there to the parking lot.
And Lana's confessing as much.
Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got yesterday.
Were you at the awards ceremony, Detective Gumshoe?
Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself.
Ah, congratulations.
I was wondering, why is this award a shield? And why is it broken?
Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later.
Apparently he's forgotten.
But I was proud of Mr. Edgeworth for winning that award, even with all the naysayers in the prosecutor's office.
Naysayers must be because of the rumors.
Found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, stabbed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Well, wait, I mean, sure, of course someone else really did it. Someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth.
The car and the knife do seem a little too well organized to be a coincidence.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. What could have happened?
We have to find out a little more about what's going on with Edgeworth.
He's in a tough spot again.
Again?
Well, it all started with the murder of that defense attorney, Hammond.
But Mr. Edgeworth was found innocent.
Listen, pal, there have always been rumors about Mr. Edgeworth. Forging evidence, making deals with witnesses. Nothing outright, but there were always whispered rumors. Ever since he was accused of murder, no one's whispering. They're practically shouting.
Yeah, but there's no evidence against him.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth has always had unusually strong ties to the department higher-ups. It's only natural that people would be suspicious.
I had no idea he was under the gun.
Anyway, this latest case has started a new rumor. People say the only reason he took this case is because he's aiming for the chief prosecutor's position himself.
But what?
But I know the truth, pal. Nobody wants to be the one who has to prosecute the chief prosecutor. Mr. Edgeworth is biting the bullet on this one. He's doing this for all of us. And that's all I know about that. I'm not officially on the case, you know.
Thank you.
Why aren't you handling the case, Detective Gumshoe? We met the guy who is... What was his name? The guy in the parking lot?
That'd be Officer Marshall. He was appointed directly by the chief of police.
Officer Marshall. Is he some kind of Wild West sheriff or something?
Nope, Jake Marshall's just a regular officer. From West LA.
For a moment there, I wasn't sure.
Look, pal, let me try to make things a little easier for you. Show him this, and they'll let you examine the crime scene. Maybe.
I'll be surprised if this gets us anywhere.
Just act like you're supposed to be there, and nobody will look at you twice, pal.
Looks like the investigation is still going.
I have to be getting back to the shop.
Sorry, looks like I'll be stuck in this pit till the sun sleeps.
Oh wait, no, I think it's someone else.
Oh, still here? Hello. Why the surprised looks? Didn't I mention? I've got a boyfriend in criminal affairs too.
What happened to the security guard?
Hey, what's wrong, Bambina? You're looking like a doggy that's lost its herd.
Jake Marshall. Strange guy to put in charge of a crime scene. Would you mind reading this for me?
What's this? I warn you, fan letters to me go right in the spittoon.
It's a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. May we investigate?
Gumshoe? Ah, that old cow dog? He holding a birthday party or something? Huh? Look, where it should say letter of introduction, it says invitation.
Ah, I think he just miswrote it. Wait, why am I getting all defensive here?
No worries, this proves it's from Detective Gumshoe. Better than a blood test. Guess I'd better let you in then.
Thank you, Officer Marshall. Oh, that's right, he's a patrolman, not a detective. Which reminds me.
Hey, wait a sec. Isn't a crime scene supposed to be handled by detective or higher?
Well, folks, the clues are calling. Welcome to our gold strike. Be like the settler. Strike out for lands unknown. Manifest destiny. Let's have a hootenanny.
Note to self. Police investigations are like settling land. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
I say I won't be needing this anymore. Officer Marshall, could you tell us more about the victim?
Good men always die young. Remember that, partner.
Could you be a little more specific?
Bruce Goodman. He was a detective, right?
Well, well, aren't you a feisty doggy there now? Detective Goodman was stabbed here at 5:15. The smiling Madonna told me the tale.
I think he means the witness, Miss Angel Starr.
One stab to the chest. A fine piece of work. This here's the autopsy report.
Was my sister involved with the victim in any way?
Funny you should mention that, Bambina. Chief Prosecutor Sky and Detective Goodman had nothing in common at all.
Nothing in common?
They apparently worked together on a case a few years back, so there's no motive. Goodman wasn't a particularly gifted detective. That's one reason why he didn't do much work with the chief prospector.
But my sister called the victim here on the day of the murder, right? Here, to this parking lot?
So it seems, like calling an unarmed man to a shootout at high noon.
I don't mean any offense, but Officer Marshall, you're a patrolman, right? Not a detective?
You calling me out? They shoot you for that in Texas.
Huh?
I was one of them fancy shoes detectives till 2 years ago, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really?
Now he tells me.
But you're a patrolman now, so how can you be in charge of a crime scene?
Nothing gets by you, does it, Bambina?
So why are you in charge?
No reason. We're just short on hands right now. I'm keeping an eye out in the meantime.
That's odd, though. Detective Gumshoe was saying he had nothing to do. Nothing important, at least.
He's nothing but a sad old cowdog that can't find his tail. Maybe it's because he runs with that Edgeworth, eh?
Edgeworth?
That cowdog's been kicked out of this cattle run by order of the chief of police. Just, he don't realize it yet.
Detective Gumshoe kicked out of the investigation? This looks like a cell phone. Scientific analysis would suggest this belonged to the victim. I can't think of anyone else it could belong to. What's so scientific about that? Should we check it out? Right, let's check it out. This phone's still on the redial screen.
Redial?
Mr. Wright, most phones keep a record of all the calls you've made and received. You just press the blue button to display the last number you called. Convenient, isn't it? I'm surprised you didn't know about it. Sorry to disappoint you, but even I know about things like redial. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you never know with people from your generation. Whatever. Let's check this phone out. Now, to see who the owner of this phone called last. Note to self, a defense attorney doesn't think first. He just pushes the button. Hey, that song! I know that!
Hey, what's going on over there?
Sorry.
I see you, partner. You pressed redial on that there phone, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Whose phone is this anyway? It was on the ground over there.
Whose is it? That belongs to Chief Prospector Sky.
What? It's my sister's?
She apparently dropped it when she was taken into custody right after the crime. Look, the last call was made right when the murder occurred. Looks like she was fixing to call someone. Except she only spoke for a few seconds according to this.
Who did she call?
No idea. Sorry, partner. Now I got a question for you, partner. I heard a phone ring just now. One of those newfangled ringtones.
Oh, that? Oh. Sorry, that was my phone.
What? Your phone?
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but someone called me right as we picked up the other phone. Wrong number.
I hope you're not lying. They shoot you for that in Texas, partner. Uh-oh, I've incited the wrath of the Lone Star Patrolman. What's this? Looks like a note of some sort.
Look, something's written on it.
You're right. Let's see. 6, 7S, 12, 2.
There's a name printed on the paper above that. Goodman.
Maybe it fell out of his pocket when he was killed.
Well, so what does it mean, Mr. Wright?
How am I supposed to know?
Note to self. For deductive reasoning, go to Edgeworth, not Wright.
I'm sure Edgeworth wouldn't know what this means either.
So, there's no connection between Detective Goodman and my sister.
That's correct, but there's a gold mine of evidence against her. And the prospector tomorrow is none other than Edgeworth himself. I'm afraid your sister's fate is decided, Bambina. Many condolences.
Officer Marshall!
Yeah, Bambina?
How can you say that? You and my sister, you were...
Is there something between this cop and her sister that I don't know about? I apologize, Bambina. Something must have gotten to me. Maybe it's that dry wind that's a-blowing through the prospector's office. Dry wind or ill will, someone's up to something here, but who? Suspicions about Mr. Edgeworth have been flying around for nearly 2 years now. Forged evidence and arranging testimonies, you mean? He was unbeatable because he did whatever it took to win. Unbeatable, that is, until he met you.
But rumors are just rumors, aren't they? These are prosecutors we're talking about. Evidence is everything to them.
If you follow the rumors about Edgeworth to their source, you find one person. But they're off limits. Untouchable, you might say. One person? Who? Hate to say this, but it's your sister, Bambina. Chief Prospector Lana Skye.
What? My sister?
Edgeworth couldn't rustle all those cattle by himself. Some people load their guns with bullets. Some people load them with deals.
What, you're saying Edgeworth was making deals to win trials?
Where there's gunshots, there's bound to be bullets. That's what the old-timers say. There's a big old secret hidden around here somewhere. Everyone knows it.
Is that why Detective Gumshoe was taken off the case? Did they target him because he was closest to Edgeworth? So, well, how are we doing, Mr. Wright?
I guess we've got some clues. We have an autopsy report, a note from the victim, and a cell phone.
So, you think we'll be okay?
Well, the only thing still bothering me is that Lana is confessing to the crime.
And she says she did it. No problem. I can guarantee that she's not the criminal.
Oh, by the way, Emma?
Yes?
I know that song your phone plays when it rings.
What?
It's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? That popular TV show for kids? The phone that rang earlier wasn't mine. It was yours. At 5:18, just after the murder took place. Your sister called you, didn't she, Emma?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell me what you talked about?
She hung up right away.
I see. A detective is murdered, and the suspect is the top prosecutor in the district. I've got a bad feeling about this. Like, maybe I still don't know everything that went on here.
How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me. No matter what the outcome, I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice.
Yes?
A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that.
Miss Sky, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her.
And that is,
You're not a defense attorney.
I believe it's almost time for the trial.
Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself.
Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot.
Wow, he is much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything.
However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness.
Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Star, to the stand. The cough-up queen?
Haven't I seen you somewhere?
You ordered the caviar lunch, right?
Ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before.
The judge is really wolfing it down.
Ah, and for you, I have a fiesta bowl.
Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession?
Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox?
It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please.
Well, Your Honor, how does it taste?
So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca.
What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now!
Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us.
The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating.
Hurry it up!
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
Huh? What exactly does that mean?
Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective.
But what? Miss Star was a detective?
Aha! I know who you are. Cough up?
Cough up Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star.
Just who is this lady?
If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks.
I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes?
The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor.
Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright?
I can't agree on principle, Your Honor.
It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr.
Wait, are they talking about me?
Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching.
As you can see, there is no room for doubt.
The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed?
I'm still thinking about that.
It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
How did you know?
I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy.
The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted.
Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one.
Laid off? She was fired?
To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr.
This boyfriend, he's the detective?
Not that boyfriend, the security guard.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with the lunches, thanks.
Note to self: the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there.
That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car?
Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime?
By garish car, you mean...
Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's, wasn't it?
Indeed it was.
What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I'm certain it was her.
If she's telling the truth, we're doomed.
Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick.
Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness.
You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, Rookie.
Huh? Rookie?
Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
A photograph? You took this?
The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera.
I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck.
Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now?
You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Well, this is most certainly the defendant.
Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. So what was the defendant doing at the time? And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife?
As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch.
I'm sure that is a fine lunch.
But, isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife?
Ahem. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that?
Blood splatter.
Huh?
See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat?
But it's a black and white photograph.
Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood.
Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you.
Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse?
You got a better idea? Wait! That contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime.
Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies.
That's it?
If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved.
If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go.
Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Stye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder.
Premeditated? How did you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph.
Well, are those gloves?
Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Ah!
These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation.
Premeditated murder, a serious offense.
Witness, add this to your testimony.
The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it.
Witness, do you know what this is?
Are you trying to test me? I sell boxed lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk.
Indeed, it is my knife.
What's with this case? A bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there?
The defendant is the chief prosecutor for this district, right?
Mommy, are prosecutors bad people?
The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony.
What's that, rookie?
In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves.
Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning.
However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon?
Oh,
This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon!
Order! Order! Order!
Great! Now the tide is turning in our favor.
Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free.
Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah! The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now? But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing...
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again.
Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought.
How dare you?
My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again.
The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy?
In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness.
You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr.
What do you mean?
I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound.
Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edgeworth.
What a hunk! He's my hero, really?
What about my objection? No one noticed?
Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood, but now I realize that such mistakes are possible.
So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw, that you thought was blood. Testify!
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work.
What?
The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim, and you've proved it yourself with this photograph.
Huh? But that can't be!
Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations! Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life.
Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails.
What was my objection? Chopped liver?
But it was there, a scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really?
Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What?
Very well, witness, continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth.
After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake.
Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten.
No thanks.
Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum.
An oil drum? Hard to imagine.
Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect?
As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
Maybe I should press her for more details. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in Block B. So you witnessed the murder from here?
That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes.
Is that correct, Miss Starr?
Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence in front of you.
I went over it, of course.
Amazing! The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast.
Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say?
If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony.
Cheeky.
Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word?
So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else?
Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone.
Her phone? She can't mean... By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene?
Yes, ultimately.
Ultimately?
My memory is like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
On the wall?
That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall.
Apparently, it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone?
Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day.
Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney.
Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias.
Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this?
I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up.
Ahem. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it.
Order! Order! What is the meaning of this?
It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies. Urgh. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it.
Pointless to lie? I see.
But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I've ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it!
Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime?
All the testimony we've heard up until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed this crime was here. This is the only place where she could have been.
The security guard room?
Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot.
She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone.
Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr?
How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today a man has got the better of Angel Starr.
Order! Order! Witness, what have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails.
The guilty. Is she talking about Miss Sky?
Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense.
Huh?
She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Huh? Me?
Who else?
Look, Mr. Wright, let's review what we know.
Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky?
Well, witness,
Yes?
You ordered the squid wheels, right?
The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes! This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely!
Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something.
Do I have any evidence to stop this?
Objection!
5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente.
I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie.
A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor?
Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone.
But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run, but this time was different. Miss Sky dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable.
Well then, it would seem we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright!
That was too close.
I am afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right?
That's the one she tried to foist off on me.
I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that?
Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes?
My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchline motto says, you won't be disappointed.
What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time?
I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There was blood found on that shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs.
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe had already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen.
You can at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
I can't let this evidence go through without a fight.
You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some, like your client, she's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe?
A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction!
That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish guts now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence.
I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe.
Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe.
Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe.
It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Oh-ho! As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor. There could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort.
Order! 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 Well, witness?
What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction, but then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think.
Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions.
What?
I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony.
What are you talking about?
Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr.
I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cold, cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask you a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty?
Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness! Well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water? What does that mean?
Still don't get it, Mr. Wright?
Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason?
Aha! You don't mean...
Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her.
Wah!
That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence.
That reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she cut herself when she stabbed him?
So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
Mr. Wright, do something, please!
What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it.
But...
Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor.
Very well.
But Angel Star's on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky.
Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are! You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well... I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else.
The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen.
Look at this!
A photograph?
I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo!
Hey, it's clearly wet!
Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind, immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all.
It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia.
Right, wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up, not until the bitter end.
This is the last piece of evidence.
Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Your Honor, wait!
What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, it can't! Then it will be too late! Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah! I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph.
The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph.
A muffler is also a part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe.
I see, and I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there is something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. But what?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court.
Yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler! Ah!
Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence.
Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings.
Suspend?
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now.
This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all.
He's still hungry?
Mr. Wright?
Huh? What?
Are trials always like this with you? Like you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there?
Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister anyway?
Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers.
Probably something to do with that piece of cloth.
So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth.
I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a young'un, at least.
Officer Marshall!
Thought I'd come take a look-see at how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They've got the home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What is going on over there anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worried about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example.
Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf.
You don't say. Now don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day too. She was wearing a red muffler.
What?
At the awards ceremony that afternoon. Edgeworth seen it too, I'd reckon.
What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken.
Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. I have a bad feeling about this.
So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright?
If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Woo-wee!
Sorry, I just saw that frames were dropped. Stupid internet.
I'd like to resume.
What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution.
Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over, your back is bent.
It can't be! This can't happen! I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth.
Well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation.
This is unacceptable!
It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself.
Excuse me. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
What's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey! The temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he?
Ah, it's you!
Oh, sorry I'm late, Aji. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, eh, Aji? How you been? Swim much these days?
Ah, hello. No, I've been so busy.
Busy smizzy, Aji, my boy. You have to make time to relax.
Yes, indeed.
Aji seems to be his nickname for the judge.
I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid.
Sorry, but who are you?
Aha! So you're Righto, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son.
Thanks?
So sorry about our little Worthy giving you all that trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly!
Little Worthy?
Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police?
Chief of police?
He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district.
Name's Gant, Damon Gant. Pleased to meet you, everyone.
So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it?
Well, it's Worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this.
Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Starr wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler.
But to think that it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. Oh, on little Worthy's car, no less. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us.
What's this?
It's what you'd call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this.
Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth,
How could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job?
Now, wait a minute, Worthy.
I've no desire to hear your excuses.
I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature, is there, Miles Edgeworth?
That's not fair! On the day of the crime, I had...
Your head in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel, but you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology.
What? Are you serious?
Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made.
This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words.
this kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. Gah! The court accepts this new evidence, but I'd like to ask the defense a favor first.
Yes?
Just to be sure, I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife.
The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not.
Could you open it up for me, I wonder?
Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and...
If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore.
Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point it at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. Wah! Don't scare me like that! I'm the one who's scared. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself.
I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife?
Sure thing. Not a problem. Not even a little one, really. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See? What a mess. The time of the crime? 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it.
There was a murder at the police department? A detective?
That's hush-hush information, Aji. We haven't exactly announced it yet.
Wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office.
Order!
Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might as well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay?
I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright?
2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness.
Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand.
Wait a second.
At last, an honest-to-goodness objection.
This knife. This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean?
Aha! And honest to goodness, what do you mean from Aji? This is great.
Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92.
And this is important. Why?
Over here, we also have a memo that was written on, that was on the body of the victim.
What's this? 6 minus 7 S12 2?
Your Honor, it's upside down.
Upside?
The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get?
Ah! Oh-ho!
Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down.
SL9. That's the same thing that is written on the knife's tag. Order! Order! Well, Chief?
Ah, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, righto.
I win? What game is this guy playing?
This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room.
Five 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office.
What?
Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances?
Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there is a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident.
It's not officially linked to this case here, so I can't talk much about it.
On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department?
That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Dodgy?
I'm at a loss for words.
And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect?
Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact.
Just arrested? That was quick.
But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you can help, righto.
I suppose I could help if you help me by giving me data on your case.
Ooh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only.
So tell me, where was the victim found?
Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department.
The evidence room? Well, wait a second. I have heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now?
This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room.
There's the connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven.
You don't say. Well, out with it, righto. What's your connection?
Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright.
The connection is a place, mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room.
Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence.
You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here.
Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department.
See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all.
Can we get the information unofficially?
Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all.
What? Really?
Who would have guessed?
If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything?
Ah, well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly.
Oh, well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number?
Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that.
Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all.
We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189.
Well, that's quite long.
And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts.
82... I can't do it.
You didn't even get the first number right.
Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything?
The ID number of the victim at the police department, 5842189. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think.
Meaning?
It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean?
Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. What does it tell you?
Witness!
What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night.
No, it's just... I got confused. And this is news? Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. The police department, the prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here.
Oh ho! Is it yours?
No, Your Honor, I'm a defense attorney. Remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman.
Shame on you, Righto. Personnel IDs are top secret.
Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189.
And this means what exactly?
Huh?
Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82... I've forgotten.
You didn't even get the first number right! Again! The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. Well, wait a second, Wright. What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The 2 ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that?
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Sharp as a tack, Righto. Sharp as a tack.
But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot.
Yet a Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room at the exact same time. That's impossible! So, what we're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time, and in a completely different location?
Order! 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 Chief, what does this mean?
No. What I want to know is why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case.
Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered.
Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case.
Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error? Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours.
What? How dare?
We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news.
Officer Meekins? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait, aha!
Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir.
You don't mean him?
According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe.
But your officer, he told me. He said that report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident.
Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report.
Gah! Why didn't your officer tell me?
Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy.
But sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then
No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy.
What?
Now, what was the second rule of evidence law, Well, Mr. Wright?
Huh? Oh, well, it's, Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And how is this rule relevant?
Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list.
So, what does this mean?
I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Righto over here. Good job, Righto, my boy.
Huh? I was just doing my job.
No. No!
It seems we have come to the end of this trial.
I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy. What with all those rumors? You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December.
I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part.
But Mr. Edgeworth,
Please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened. If it's the last thing I do.
You'd better get results this time. Really.
You have my profound apologies, sir.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth.
I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well, court is adjourned.
Mr. Wright, so what's going on with the case anyway? I'm a little confused.
Huh? Well, let's see. What is going on? The victim, Detective Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died in the prosecutor's parking lot and the police department's evidence room.
What's this and the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car.
Well, that's what we're going to find out. Or try to, at least.
All right, let's do it.
Glad she's in good spirits, but I'm not sure she's going to be much help with this.
Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go. Science awaits us. You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares?
Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in their evidence room. No biggie.
Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it. That oil drum, was it empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. My sister erasing evidence of the crime scene? Never.
Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister.
That's not it at all. It's just, we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her.
Big words for a high school student. Well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away.
Ignore the strength of my science to your own peril, Mr. Wright.
Huh? What's that grin for?
This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminol testing fluid.
Luminol?
Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there.
But wouldn't the police have already done those tests?
Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Just give it a try.
Me? Why do I have to do it?
I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet.
We're testing bloodstains with this stuff, not drinking it.
Here, look, I'll lend you these glasses.
Huh? You had an extra pair of those things?
To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see?
I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So is this a blood stain?
It's so...
Emma, you're shaking.
It's just... This is my first time seeing real blood.
Scientific investigation in action.
Okay, well, we definitely know that this is a blood stain, but doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course.
What's odd about this? Scientifically? The perpetrator and Detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood?
I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe.
It is pretty strange. If they fought here, there'd have to have been more blood than this.
Hey, Mr. Wright, I'm gonna mark up the floor plans where we find a bloodstain, okay? See? I'm pretty handy to have around, right?
Yeah, and this stuff's pretty handy too.
I saved up all my allowance to buy that. We can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case.
Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day.
Yeah! It feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it?
Guess I should give this a spray on anything suspicious. Ha!
I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Starr! You only trust your own eyes, hmm? Not bad, you two. This day-old deli box is on the house. Sorry,
it's just that kind of lead... Sorry, it's just that kind of lead-in doesn't really get my mouth watering.
You certainly put me in a tight spot today.
My apologies, Miss Starr, but...
No, it's okay. It was my fault. Oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right there, but I was afraid that wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see. I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry. Sorry? You lied on the witness stand. That's unforgivable. Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Skye stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. I swear it on my honor as a detective. She stabbed Goodman.
I know this photograph has something important to tell us, but what?
So, you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr? Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal, when they faced me, they coughed it up.
Coughed it up?
They confessed. They babbled like babies. You know. I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Every day I dragged the dirt out of the mouths of suspect after suspect, and before long they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches.
And you were let go? Fired?
I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today. It's all because of that case, the SL9 incident.
SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean...
The SL9 incident, it's written on that knife. And on that note. Goodman. Goodman was the head detective on that case, you know. Really? That knife was evidence from that case, the murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected. SL9 isn't over. Not yet.
Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident?
I had one of those up until 2 years ago. Back when you were the cough-up queen, right?
We found this ID card here in this parking lot.
Well, there's no mistaking that. It's definitely Goodman's.
But it's the same ID as the man who was killed at the police department.
That's impossible.
I wish I could be so sure.
If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered sometimes.
So you went straight to the scene of the crime?
I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this photo, yes. In other words, 5 minutes after the crime? Those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. The 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Starr. You lying was the problem. Listen, little girl, I've had my testimony disregarded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time.
That time?
That incident really opened up my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable to who? 2 years ago, it was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So they didn't solve it? On the contrary. It was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed.
Executed?
Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any clearer than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred.
What? But the criminal was executed, right?
On the basis of evidence of a sort. Made up evidence. What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? The best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those? Myself and one other person you know well.
Wait, could it be?
Exactly. Detective Jake Marshall. Oops, I mean Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall. As professional detectives, we investigated that case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined, and then it was over, and he was demoted. However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I.
You haven't forgotten SL9?
There was another side to that case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us. Wait, those lunches you sell? There is only one reason I come to sell lunches in this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends, boyfriends that can help me investigate.
Miss Starr's old boyfriends. How many does she have anyway? Just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence.
There has to be a connection. So, rookie. What? It seems like you're serious about investigating this case.
Yes.
Then you should take this.
Salisbury steak lunch?
I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. Miss Starr? Officer Marshall, is he your... are you his... Are you going out? Why do you want to know? I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. And he was nice to me too back then.
This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective.
But now he's so cold. Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that. I see. Thank you.
Officer Jake Marshall. It's even busier here today than it was yesterday.
The detectives are running around so fast they're blurring.
I suppose it makes sense. A detective did get killed here after all.
So, the evidence room, the scene of the crime. According to the pamphlet we got at the front desk. Here it is.
She's like a kid at an amusement park.
Oh, a real crime scene. Let's go take a look.
What's with the decor in this place? It's very eccentric.
According to the pamphlet, this is the guard station for the evidence room.
So beyond that door is the evidence room, the scene of the crime.
It sure seems that way. Oh.
What's wrong?
It's those cacti. They're so prickly, so imposing. It's hard to think straight.
If you can't handle the cacti, stay out of the desert. What I want to know is if this is a guard if this is a guard station, where is the guard?
I have a feeling I know who he is already.
This place is charged with frantic energy as always.
Huh? Wasn't that?
One steak lunch, please. Oh, it's you.
Detective Gumshoe!
Now's no time for chit-chat, pal. I'm a busy man. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland.
Oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale.
I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking.
Now's no time for despair. We've caught our criminal. Now we just need evidence.
The criminal? You mean...
You heard about the stabbing in the police department evidence room, right, pal?
On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? And the perpetrator, do you have a suspect?
Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact.
It's the biggest scandal to hit the station in ages. Everything's topsy-turvy.
But Detective Gumshoe, who was it?
Listen, pal, all I know is I need me a steak lunch, pronto. Standing around here talking isn't going to fill my belly.
Well, wait, don't leave.
If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figure he's down there having a good cry. Later!
He ran off to the evidence room.
Well, this investigation is off to a running start.
Still, I do feel better about things. A little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess they did. Best to not go too far down that road right now. Things will just get will just get confusing.
What was that? Sir, that's what I'm saying! Me, a perpetrator? I'd say I was the perpetrator against, sir! That's what I'd say!
Hi! Greetings, sir!
Wait, I know who you are.
Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir.
Officer Meekins, so you're a guard here at the detention center?
No, sir, I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman, like a little lost lamb, sir.
Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report?
No, sir, how should I say this?
Wait, he isn't. Is he? You, Officer Meekins, you didn't, did you?
Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir!
What?
Now this is an unexpected turn of events.
Sir, I'm a patrolman with General Affairs, sir! Sir!
Ow! I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins.
I had some business that day, sir, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir.
So, normally there's a guard at the evidence room?
That's right, sir, because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir. Now, the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall.
Marshall?
Then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir! A suspicious person! Yo!
What the heck is this guy doing? So what happened then?
After that, sir, everything went white! I saw red! I blacked out! And when I came to, I was here in the detention center.
How long were you out? Days?
Might I ask, what happened to your hand?
Sir, there was no one to bandage me, sir. So I did what I could to wrap it up, sir.
A bandage on his hand. Just like Miss Sky.
Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office.
First things first, tell us how you hurt your hand. About your hand, did that happen during the course of the crime?
Well, you see, sir,
Don't you think you should just confess?
But there was nothing I could do.
Nothing you could do?
Sir, to tell the truth, sir, when it happened, when the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious.
The next thing you knew, you were... Huh?
Then, when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir. All alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared.
What?
Then when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hand, sir. Oh, the shock. Oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt?
The victim's body disappeared?
That's some story.
I don't mean to pry, but you are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right?
Sir, please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir. If you have to label me as perpetrator or victim, sir, then label me victim.
I would, but you happen to be in detention, and alive and well at that.
Oh, yes, well, that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that.
Did you know the victim, Detective Goodman?
Well, sir, if I had to label him as a stranger or a total stranger, then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side.
So, you didn't know him?
Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of light and other creature comforts. I don't know any detectives.
So if he was a total stranger, why did you stab him?
Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None. Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir.
At least someone around here is more confused than I am.
Do you think you could take a look at this?
Hey! That's it, sir! That's it! That's it!
That's what?
My head was a blank until this very moment. But, sir, now I remember. I remember, sir.
You mean you remember what happened?
Correct! That card was the cause of it all!
This ID card?
Exactly, sir! That's exactly it! Nothing could be more exact, sir! Nothing!
I'd better pry into this one a little deeper. Can you tell me what it was you do remember?
Well, sir, you might say I'm a lost little patrolman, a lost little lamb, if you will. I didn't know Mr. Detective Goodman who was in the evidence room.
And that's why you thought he looked suspicious.
Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card.
Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far.
That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do?
That's the thing. Suddenly he pointed a knife at me.
What?
Sir, I assure you I was as flustered as you are right now. So I whooped and leapt at him.
Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him?
Do unto others before they do unto you. My own father's words, sir.
What happened then?
Well, my eyes, sir. Everything went white. When I awoke, I was here.
Right. So, Officer Meekins, why was it that they arrested you? What do you mean, Emma? Let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman, and the victim whom he met at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died.
That's it, sir. That's what I wanted to say. That is, I did say something along those lines.
Huh? But you still ended up here?
They told me that it had to be him, sir. On that day, at that time, Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said.
But you don't remember the events clearly?
No, but the videotape is quite clear.
Huh? Videotape?
From the security camera. The crime, my crime, the crime I swore to stamp out. It's there, it's me, it's on tape.
And you waited until now to tell us this?
I'm sorry, really sorry, sir. I'll hand over my badge. I don't deserve it.
No thanks, I have my own. Well, guess we'd better go check out the crime scene. Hey, Mr. Wright, look who's standing at the chief of detective's desk. It's Police Chief Gant.
And you're sure this is all, You know what it means if there is anything missing.
Sir, I'm sure it's mostly likely totally perfect. We checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage, even under his seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine.
I see. Well, if anything does turn up, you call me right away. Deal?
Yeah, sir. We'll scour the place again, sir.
The chief of detectives looks a little flustered.
Aha! Righto, my boy. How you been? Swim much?
Chief Gant, reporting for duty, sir. Why are you saluting him, Mr. Wright? Is Edgeworth going to be okay?
Oh, Worthy? Oh, you know, they're doing a little inquiry committee with him.
Sounds like an inquisition.
Yep, well, they've had no end of trouble with the boy since last year.
You mean the incident on Gourd Lake?
It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendant's seat, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in that case, right, righto?
Von Karma.
A legend he was, undefeated in his 40-year career. But in court, you fixed it so he was caught for forging evidence.
Well, wait, I didn't do anything wrong. He did forge evidence.
In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of turmoil, you might say. Why, they do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy.
What?
It's downright odd, I tell you. The detective getting killed on their turf too, I mean.
They're being the prosecutors, I assume. Scientifically speaking, it's impossible.
Yes, but that's what the evidence is saying. Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says.
What evidence is this?
Now, righto, I can't give away all our secrets just like that. And this in particular, well, it's a little sensitive, and I can't talk about it.
I wasn't expecting much anyway.
You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets, can't stand them. But you know, it's a full-time job just keeping the chief of detectives' trap shut.
Ah, he was the one you were picking on earlier?
Huh? You saw that? Whoops!
I wonder what it was that he wanted the chief of detectives to do.
Let's see if we can kind of discreetly ask him.
Oh, sorry you had to see that.
What exactly did the chief of police want you to do?
Well, see over there? That's Goodsman's desk. He wanted me to check it for anything that might be a clue. They took away every last piece of garbage in the trash can.
So nothing belonging to Detective Goodman is still here?
Of course not. Well, except for this.
What? You kept something?
Sure, why not? It's not important. He didn't even finish writing it. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete.
A lost item? Did Detective Goodman lose something?
The date on it is February 21. Better make a note of that, just in case. I should really get back to investigating the police department crime scene. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor.
Well, I never thought the day would come when Wright asked me for help.
I was wondering if we could investigate the evidence room.
Now, Righto.
Actually, I'm sorry. I don't need to investigate after all.
Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man?
Huh?
Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out.
It just goes to show you never know until you ask.
And for you, here, you can borrow this.
Huh? Hey, this is a detective's ID card, isn't it?
That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it.
Yes, sir. It's an honor.
You just run along and do your best now. Later, folks.
It looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID.
You seem happy.
Yes, sir, because, sir, we get to go to the evidence room now, sir.
I think this place is a bad influence on the girl. The evidence room is beyond that door.
And we have the ID card from Chief Gant. Let's just walk in. It won't open.
Aha, the card reader is turned off, see?
What is that security guard thinking?
Howdy, partners. Well, well, what's made my bambina's skies so gray? Officer Marshall! Why does it have to be him? What's that why does it have to be him look for? As you may have surmised, this here's my saloon.
We're here to investigate the crime scene.
Yeehaw! That card you got there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts.
Yeehaw?
Well, what you standing there for? Get along, little dogies. The crime scene's awaiting. Looks like the card reader's on again. While we're here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. Sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then? Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. That smell. Reminds me of Texas.
So, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas?
No, I just saw a special on television the other day. Is this from my baby?
Yeah, Miss Starr.
What's this?
What? What's wrong?
A filet steak lunch. I see. I see.
I don't see. I wonder what it means.
All right, Bambina, you win. Ask anything. Finally, it seems like
he's willing to talk. Wow, we got a reaction!
There's clearly blood around the spines here. This room's pretty messy. Someone must have tripped over something and planted their head right in these spines.
I think that might be more painful than being murdered.
I was expecting an achievement. Oh well.
Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right?
You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it.
Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us.
Ah, that poor little doggy. Poor guy, I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly.
He told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station.
Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know?
So, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place?
Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy.
Note, he was riding down the highway on his horse named Zippy.
There's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place.
You mean the security camera system?
I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak in next to your steak, you know?
Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago?
It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire.
You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you?
That was my case. It's all solved on the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it.
What kind of case was it anyway? We've heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what actually happened.
There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago.
2 days ago? The day of our case?
That's right, the evidence transferals.
Edgeworth was talking about the transferals too. Sorry, but could you explain what this whole transferal thing is about?
We keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. They're kept here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years, so we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see?
So what happens to the evidence after 2 years?
It goes to sleep forever in the underground vault at the county sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February.
I see now.
Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever. Dead. Never to be reopened again. Never to be reinvestigated.
And that happened to SL9 2 days ago.
I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do.
Only 2 of them? There must be a dozen.
Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest ones to understand are these here security cameras.
Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned.
If nothing happens, the tapes are automatically erased every few hours.
And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of those tapes?
I reckon they might be.
You're the security guard and you reckon?
One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card.
Thus the card reader by the door.
A card reader leaves a record of every ID card that passes through.
So this is the ID card record. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before.
Sorry, Bambina, I can't show you more than that.
Huh?
I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet.
Mr. Wright, I saw a number on that record just now. I've seen that number before.
Maybe there's some way I can prove that record is tied to the stabbing.
See this? This is the victim's ID card.
Ah, the one that was on the ground in the parking lot? The number on this is 5842189.
Officer Marshall, show us that ID card record again. Look, the fourth number. It's a perfect match.
It was used at 5:14, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world.
So when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room?
But wait, what did Officer Meekins say?
Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card.
So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do?
That's the thing! Suddenly he pointed a knife at me!
If he had his ID card, then why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. Just a It's quiet. The investigation must be over here.
So this is the evidence room? It really is kind of like a graveyard.
Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue.
Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Eek!
Whoa!
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So is it true what I heard?
Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, it's true.
So Chief of Police Gant will loan anyone $50? Even me?
Oh, so that's what you were talking about.
Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today.
Just for today? Boss for a day?
But guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day.
Gee, thanks.
First of all, you'll want to have this.
Well,
So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day?
That's right, it's an honor. After all, the murder took place right here in the police department.
But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings?
They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial.
in other words, you got kicked out of the investigation. Again.
I'm adamant, though. I'm going to take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal.
You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe?
Of course. I am a detective, after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal.
Only you can open?
This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it.
Using their ID card?
Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Why, I'm on my third card since entering the force already.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand.
Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint?
Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. So the only locker we can open is our own.
Funny, they look like normal lockers.
These are the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see?
The handles?
On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it,
Bizap, you get a shock.
if that's what happened, my hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens.
So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee right now, right?
They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess up in court today.
I see.
I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case.
That case?
Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident, of course. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth.
Maybe we can get him to tell us more about the case.
Detective Goodman's note and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone.
Because of the SL9 connection?
That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, you know, 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared.
But why would evidence from that case turn up now?
I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case. Now that was a bloody, violent case.
Violent? So it was a murder?
A serial killing.
A serial killing? Maybe I don't want to get involved in this after all.
But the killer made a mistake, and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him.
And this was 2 years ago?
That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight and started the rumor mill.
Rumors about forged evidence?
It was supposed to be all cleaned up at the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is.
Huh? What do you mean?
Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see?
So that switchblade knife?
The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself? Could you take a look at this? This is the ID card record of the people who came in here on the day of the stabbing.
Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder.
Whoa! But what is it?
That second number!
It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe?
Mr. Edgeworth!
What?
The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth!
What?
Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? Someone left a glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe?
There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know?
You mean SL9? It does have a tag on it.
Look, this one's open, and the red indicator light above the door is lit.
That locker's coated with Detective Goodman's fingerprint.
Detective Goodman's locker.
Are you sure it's okay to leave it open like that?
Well, it'd be hard to get it open again if we closed it.
It's empty. They must have taken the contents elsewhere.
Wow, someone must have broken something big to make all these pieces.
Detective Gumshoe, perhaps?
There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case.
The case?
The SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on one of the pieces there?
Another piece of SL9 evidence. I wonder what shape these pieces were in before whatever it was broke.
You want to try to put it back together?
Ha! Good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Why, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up.
That's why I always carry around a tube of glue.
Well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place.
Huh? Well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are missing.
Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. The problem is finishing it.
Were some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with.
Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar.
I kind of understand how it got broken. I knew it! This is someone's right handprint.
What? What's the matter?
What's the matter, detective?
This locker, it's mine!
It's yours?
Please, you have to help me. When they come to take me away, promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals?
This is an important clue. I'll jot it down on the floor plans.
I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police.
What? But you're a detective! Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch this spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant.
Hey, that's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal.
What, this? It's called luminol testing fluid.
Where'd you get your hands on that?
Huh?
I'd like to get some too. I'll just borrow $50 from the chief.
Where do you get this, Emma? I always buy it by mail order. Well, I'd better jot this down on the floor plans. That must have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. I'm not a professional. What's your opinion, detective?
Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien?
This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans.
Hey, if you didn't want my opinion, you shouldn't have asked. Hey, pal, look at the time.
Was there something you needed to be going to?
It's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I'm going to go give him my report for the day. It might help, you know.
Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer? The one that says nothing but no problems?
Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he could use a report like this. I believe in him.
Who needs enemies when you've got friends like Detective Gumshoe?
I'm off, pal. Later.
I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. Ah, guests, my apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long. Is Edgeworth here? There, standing by the window, a teacup in his hand. Right. He has the hotel bring him tea service? Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe is looking for you. Ah, yes. He brought me the latest information, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently, a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info is on the other side, Edgeworth. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. So, how did the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You are lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard them say that so many times, ever since that case 2 years ago. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney. However, something happened. They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. The police department? Yes, any further investigation for this case will be directed by the Chief of Police, Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you, why? All along, I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But still. Wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Oh, right. I'd better check this now. As I was saying, What's this? A record of ID card usage. Edgeworth, you went into the evidence locker that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. The Chief of Police? He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? It would have had to be if the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask what kind of case it was? I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. Now I'm curious about this other case. I'd better make a note of it. Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. I know you. You've probably got a hold of some information already, right? It all has to do with that case you were on, the SL9 incident, and some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in. You are the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. He must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the Deputy Chief of Police at the time, Damon Gant. That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too, then. He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth? What I want to know is, why was a Deputy Chief of Police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't? Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister? What? If you were still studying forensic science? Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid, Well then, you might have use for this. Aluminum powder for taking fingerprints! It's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I've no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, no need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks! How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? Well, let's get going. One last investigation. Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, in this blood on the detective's evidence locker. Let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger. A finger? Each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print. I really can't tell the difference at a glance. Quit procrastinating and choose a finger. Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done. Emma's starting to get that sparkle in her eyes. First, we sprinkle the aluminum powder around. Huh? How do you do that? Ah, looks like that did the trick. The aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. Huh? How do I do that? With exciting, I know. Imagine you're blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. See? Wow, that looks like fun. It might take some getting used to, though. It's fine, it won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. I guess I better give it a try. Aha! You did it! You found one! But this looks nothing like a fingerprint. Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't. What does it mean? I think it means we're out of luck. Out of luck? The person who left this handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here! Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints? Other prints? Looking at the locker door again closely, it seems like there are fingerprints outside the bloody handprints as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print. Fingerprints outside the blood. Yay! A print so clear it's dazzling! Dazzling? Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet? This is quite a process. Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth and point out the person you think left these prints. Huh? How am I supposed to know who it was? I could make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means that the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints would we most likely find on this evidence locker? Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me this so what look. I guess that's probably because I was thinking, so what? Okay, so we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. This is where we got a luminol fluid reaction, right? Right! There was a handprint here! Okay, wanna try using this? There goes her eyes sparkling again. Okay, let's check for prints. That's the spirit. Oh, but I have to warn you about something first. What? The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in that area will have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me. Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. Hey, these fingerprints, they...
Whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know?
It's Officer Marshall!
Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? That's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime.
Emma, this is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The luminol reaction, the blood and the fingerprints are in the same place.
Oh!
So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped bloodstain.
But why would Officer Marshall...
It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you'd call decisive evidence.
I don't believe it.
I love doing these voices, but apparently my throat doesn't like them too much. That's all for today. Gotta work through all that, apparently. Thanks for watching. Peace be with you, and may the forces of evil be confused on the way to your home. Bye.